Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Turner's Digest. My name is Alex, otherwise known as Fear the Z, and we'll start off with our disclaimer. I'm not a financial or tax advisor. This is not financial or tax advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please enjoy. If you want to support, there's a Patreon for the channel, patreon.com/Turner's Digest. I share there just some more timely updates, so things that are short-lived. There's a couple in this episode that are covered that are no longer live, but you would have had access to them if you were on the Patreon. There's some referral links on the referral page, which is in the show notes. The show notes are on the companion site at fearthez.com. The intro music is done by my brother's band, Sweaty Lemon. If you're interested in that, details on them in the show notes. Shout out to our Cleed tier members of the Patreon, Kung Fuer and Cleed. And welcome to a new Patreon member, Isaiah. Isaiah asked me about the $1 balance forgiveness for Patreon access, and I gave him a link to a write-up by Doctor of Credit that shares all the different cards that do support this small balance forgiveness, and I'll give a link in the show notes as well if you want to see which cards specifically support that. But again, a reminder for that, there's some credit cards that will forgive a small balance, so if you leave like $1 or less than $2 on certain credit issuers' credit cards, they'll just forgive the balance as like a waive instead of having you pay it. I specifically do that on two of my Barclay cards, my Banana Republic card and my Barclays View card. I charge a $1 subscription, which for some reason for me doesn't have any taxes, so it's exactly $1. And then Barclay just forgives the small balance. So I charge $1, they give me $1 credit. I owe nothing at the end of the month. That's my only charge on the card for the whole month. So if you're interested in that, check out the Doctor of Credit write-up on which cards do that, and you can sign up for Patreon for free. Also, speaking of the Patreon, those funds are slowly starting to accumulate, and my first purchase of Patreon money that I've accumulated will be for the Cash App Chameleon card. So I have a growing site of different card images that I've either taken off of Apple Wallet rips, so getting high-quality copies of card designs and putting them on my site for the Z. And I don't have a scan. I also scan the cards, and I don't have a scan for the Chameleon card just yet. And I'm just going to use some of the Patreon funds. That card's $50, and I'm just going to get it just to add it to the collection, get a scan of it. So very big shout out to the Patreon, because without y'all, I wouldn't be able to continue growing this. I do have members like Cleed and Kung Fuer and a couple other members that submit some card images. And if you're interested in submitting them, there's details on that blog post as well if you want to submit some images that I might be missing. But funding some of these cards that I have to get is a great way to use these Patreon funds. So without further ado, we'll dive in this week. There's just some hodgepodge of stuff I've seen, some updates for myself, some bank account bonuses. So we'll go right into it. Something that I thought I'd cover, I saw, I think on our churning, someone was talking about them submitting their passport sometime in December and getting it back pretty quickly. And I realized that my passport was expiring soon, and I have this Europe trip coming up that I had mentioned, and I wanted to get my passport renewed. So I figured I'd detail my timeline. I don't know if it's still a good time to set it. When I recently went to when I recently went to USPS, there was a large line for people trying to do their passport images or like their pictures. But when I went there in December, the USPS was pretty much empty. It was like, I think the week before Christmas, so not many people were doing this. But I'll give my details on my dates anyway. So on December 20th, I went to USPS, got my picture taken, had all the forms filled out, I did a money order because I didn't have a check on me, and that's the only other way to send a payment into the USPS or a payment into the passport service was either a money order or check. So I ordered a money order, and they didn't let me use a credit card at USPS, which was annoying. So I just used a debit card. But that was on December 20th, and then January 3rd, they mailed me back my passport. So that was like less than 2 weeks, which is a pretty great turnaround. I think it was maybe exactly 2 weeks. Not sure if it's still that quick, but if you're in the need of mailing your passport, it might be a good time to do it now. Next, I detailed this a little while ago. I don't exactly remember which episode it was, but there was a plan for, actually, I don't think I discussed this, because I definitely talked about the Alaska merger. I haven't talked about the JetBlue Spirit merger, but JetBlue and Spirit proposed a merger between the two of them. I know that Spirit has some pretty bad debt that they're stuck with. I mean, they are a budget airline after all, and they kind of just went the route of shoveling money into the fire since things aren't going well, and they were just hoping to get scooped up by somebody. And they had planned that somebody to be JetBlue, but a judge knocked it down. The DOJ said that after the antitrust challenge that the merger is being blocked due to anti-competitive factors, and it doesn't bode well for JetBlue. I recently subscribed to Miles Earn and Burn, which I suggest you doing as well. Matt does a great job over there. And he made a good point that if you do plan on flying Spirit in the next coming months, definitely purchase a refundable ticket just in case they go under and you're stuck with a ticket because they're considering bankruptcy, and they might file as soon as next week. And this was posted on the 19th, so this coming week here. So if you do plan on flying Spirit, just be wary that they might be going away. Actually, I don't have any Spirit flights coming up. I don't believe. Yeah, I just double checked, and I don't have any Spirit flights coming up. I'm flying American and Alaskan, so Alaskan. But just a call out if you're flying JetBlue, be wary of their potential bankruptcy coming up here. Next was a lightning deal that I posted on the Patreon. I saw on our Build a PC sales that the Sony XM5s were refurbished. Sony XM5s were on sale for $200 on eBay. I have the Sony XM4s, and I heard that the XM5s have a pretty decent upgrade in terms of noise canceling, but they don't fold up as neatly. The XM4 and previous generations could fold up into a more compact state, which is good for travel, but the XM5s, just the ear cups fold flat, so it takes up a little bit more space, but you do get enhanced. I think the build quality is a little bit better, and you do get better active noise cancellation, but this is since expired. It's no longer on sale. It looks like they sold like 16,000 of them, according to eBay at least, but I figured I'd call that out. That's something that you would have access to on the Patreon if you find value. Next is my first churn or sign-up bonus of the year. I actually ignored this, then I saw a Reddit comment stating that you're eligible if you haven't had this bonus in the last 12 months, but this bonus is specifically for a Fidelity cash management account bonus for $100 if you just deposit $50. I had done this a little while ago, but on Dr. Credit's report, it states that, where did he put it? Update. New terms added. Individual took advantage of the previous 50 for 100 offer or the previous 50 for 150 offer aren't eligible. But that was shared on May 11th of 2023. And the Reddit comment suggested that it's actually for the past 12 months. So I went and looked at the terms that Fidelity shared for this, and they specifically say account holders must maintain the bonus award in this account for at least. No, this is the wrong thing I'm reading here. Where the heck is it? Here it is. And have not otherwise previously taken advantage of Fidelity $50 or $100 cash offer or Fidelity's $50 for $150 cash offer in the last 12 months. So Dr. Credit's post is a little outdated. At one point, maybe it said that you're not eligible at all, but now it's for the past 12 months. So I had opened this account in 12 months earlier, and you can hold multiple cash management accounts. I currently have one that I use for the Great Debit Card features. It has no ATM debit card fees. It reimburses all ATM fees, as well as international ATMs. It refunds as well. But this one, I specifically want you to open it through a gold booster. And in terms of Fidelity's UI, when you actually have the account open and you log into Fidelity, it'll look the same, but it'll be named whatever you called your gold booster. But you just go to the site linked on Dr. Credit, click I want to open the account. It should auto-populate the offer code of GB100, but if it doesn't, there's a spot to put it in towards the end of the application. All you have to do is open up the account, fund it with at least $50, and you'll get a $100 bonus, as long as you hold those initial fundings of at least $50 for 45 days after opening the account. So I went and did that, funded the account with $75 just in case. Just going to let the funds sit there for a little bit and get my $100. This account's really useful, as I mentioned, for its debit card fees reimbursements. So if you don't have this is a great time to open the account. They did offer $150 in the past, but I don't know if they'll offer that again, and it's just $50. So honestly, I think it's pretty worth it. Next is something that Dr. Credit shared, and actually there's a decent amount of discussion in it And I don't know if it's worth it, but if people go to Applebee's often, it might be. Applebee's is offering a date night pass, which is $200 for a $30 credit every week for 52 weeks. So how this works out is you get a $30 credit per meal, and it says per week, but you actually can use it every 24 hours. As long as you don't have one within the past 24 hours, you can use it again. So if you do wind up using this in its full value, it comes out to $1,560 worth of value if you wind up using all 52 credits. And it doesn't apply to alcohol, it doesn't apply to tip, and it doesn't apply to particular non-participating locations. It looks like there's maybe 15 of them that don't accept this. But if you go to Applebee's at least decently, or you don't hate Applebee's food and you have a PT you can go with, I think this is a pretty decent offer. I mean, Applebee's food isn't great, but $30. Let's see what the actual price per trip comes out to. It works out to $3.84 per visit. So if you use all 52, you'll be paying, instead of paying $30, you're paying $3.84 per meal. So that converts to almost 90% cash back on this purchase, or 90% discount. So, I mean, if you go to Applebee's decently and you don't hate their food, there's one locally. It'd be a nice way for you and P2 to go out. This is going on sale on January 22nd at 9 a.m. And I imagine these will expire, or these will run out pretty quickly, because this is a pretty crazy offer. But if you're interested, go in and purchase it. If not, disregard as always. Next, I got a letter in the mail for a class action lawsuit that I can't find any details on, but I do remember filling it out a long time ago. It was Breton versus Mavis Tire Supply class action lawsuit. I think that they were charging for, let me see if I can find some information about it. Here's information. I gave a link in the show notes as well. But this was specifically that in New Jersey alone, Mavis Discount Tire was violating the consumer rights because customers received online reservation details for purchasing a tire and for a TPMS service kit and or tire recycling. The actual lawsuit comes in where the company, Mavis Discount Tire, was not disclosing all fees in the online statement until after the services were rendered. So kind of a surprise fee. And the defendant is making a settlement fund of $650,000, broken down into two parts: a cash refund in form of $486,000 and a settlement purchase certificate fund in the amount of $163,000 to compensate the claims that are eligible settlement class members and certain other fees and expenses. So what this worked out to was I wound up getting $20. It looks like you could submit up to $5 per tire, and I believe I don't think they needed a receipt either. I purchased a full set of tires from Mavis at one point and submitted my claim that I purchased 4 tires, and they paid $5 per tire, and I just received a $20 check. So just interesting that these things eventually come out. I don't know how I heard about this. I think I got it in the mail, to be honest with you, and then I filled it out and mailed it back, or I got an email or something. But it's since been closed. It's been settled, and they just squared up and paid their $20 payouts. It looks like the deadline to file the claim was June 4th of last year, and I also didn't see this posted on Doctor Credit, so I must have found this organically somewhere. But I thought I'd share. That seemed pretty interesting. Next, I shared last week that Chase My Bonus is available for some cards, and Frequent Miler shared specific links to deals for specific branded cards. So cards like World of Hyatt, Marriott, Ritz-Carlton, United Mileage Plus, etc. There's a bunch of direct links for offers for those cards. So if you're not seeing it in the Chase My Bonus, you can go over to Frequent Miler and see the post by Stefan, who gave links to the specific cards. And there's some pretty great offers in there. There's like 5X on gas station, groceries, and restaurants. There's 7X on groceries and gas station restaurants, 5% back at groceries and restaurants. Most of it is 5% back at grocery restaurants. I had it targeted for my Amazon Prime card, but I already used that. I was targeted last year, and it says that I've already used my redemption for that offer. So definitely go in there and take a look if you have some of these cards, see if you have these offers. it's a nice little boost. Next, speaking of the Ritz-Carlton card, Chase sent out some emails saying that the all-metal Ritz-Carlton card is back. And I first saw this on Reddit, posted by user PhilQ23 on the 17th, and then Dr. Credit posted about it shortly later. But basically, Chase had a Ritz-Carlton card, and then American Express got privileges to issue that card, and those members who had the Chase card were not forced to close their card. They can just keep it. But Chase changed the card, and they reissued it to be a non-all-metal one, and now they're deciding to reissue an all-metal one. It's a kind of a weird flow, but I like metal cards. I think they're cool, so, I mean, good for customers. It's annoying if you don't like them. So I'd be interested in the card image, and it says to update your digital wallets as well, so there might be a new card image that comes along with it. If someone has this card in the community and wants to send the image in, definitely check out the companion site. There's details on how to add it to your Apple Wallet. You specifically need to have a Mac that has Touch ID, and if you have that, you'll be able to get the card image. It doesn't share any proprietary or private information, but it does share the image, and I'd love to get that. So if you do have that card, at least hit me up if you don't know how to do it, or check out the links in the companion site. Next, Dr. Credit did this twice now. We'll discuss it later, but they just recently shared about the Atlas card, which is formerly the Titan card by Point Card. If you remember, Point Card was a $99 annual fee debit card that was offered, and I actually did a write-up a little while ago, I think like maybe a year or two ago at this point, about my uses for it and how I think I got like maybe $400 to $500 out of value for that card, but they shut it down, and they were coming out with a Titan card, which is a charge card, and then they transitioned from the Titan card to just the Atlas card and dropped the whole Point nomiker, so it no longer is related to Point. It's now just Atlas card. But what I found interesting was when they emailed us about the Point card being shut down, in the support article, they claimed that, oh, like what are we offering next? Are there any options for me to now still have a card with Point? And the help article specifically stated, yes, we're going to be offering a new charge card, and that charge card will come as a free first year's membership for those that had a Point account. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I signed up for the wait list, which was then Point Card, and then they went away with Point Card and went with the Atlas card. But this article that they had saying that you would have a free first annual fee waived changed the link from, actually, no, I take that back. They didn't change the link, but the Titan card link on their website redirected to Atlas. So I was like, oh, would I now get the Atlas card for free? So I reached out to support a little while ago. I think this was back in 2023. And they said that they will not be honoring the discounted membership for Titan for the Atlas card, which is kind of disappointing. I might try reaching out to Atlas again and see if they'll kind of budge on that. I mean, honestly, I just want the card for the physical card and the card image just to add to it. I know I said I can use my Patreon monies to buy these cards and try them out, but $1,000 is kind of hefty. That's a lot of Patreon subscriptions. So maybe once they accrue for a while, but that's going to take a while. We don't have that many patrons. But I thought I'd share that. And then I also thought it was interesting in the Atlas post that Dr. Credit made, someone made a reference to Enzo. And if you don't know what Enzo was an account where you would get rent cash back just by charging rent through ACH to the account. They'd give you, I think, like 1% back on the transaction. And someone said that this sounds like what Enzo aspired to achieve at the Secret Ring Club. And very short-lived, but Enzo at one point was teetering with the idea of offering like a prestige ring that you can become a member of and then get access to like concierge services. And there was some fee that came along with it. But it was quite the weird offering, and this seems like the same thing for this Atlas card because it has a very hefty annual fee of $1,000, but it comes with like a clear membership. You get 5x points on Blade helicopter rides and flights, 3x on your highest spend category, 1x on the rest. You get cancel flights without fees up to $600 annually, but it's only $100 per claim up to 6 claims. A one medical membership, which is $200. Air One Cafe membership, which is $100. Future Fitness Training membership, $25 per month, $300 annually. And the card, which I'm really interested in, which is very nice looking, is a 21-gram steel alloy, milled, engraved, and polished to a brilliant mirror shine. I mean, honestly, I think the only selling point is this card. It is quite beautiful. But this, Dr. Credit just shared about this, and this card, at least the site's been up for months now, and they haven't said anything. In the in the email thread that I had with them, they had originally said it would be a couple of months until the card came out. Let me see if I can find the exact communication. They said that back in, what date is this? May 2023. They said, while we're still in the process of building to ensure that it's the most stunning and seamless product in its class, rest assured it's coming in the next few months. And that was almost a year ago at this point. So, well, not a year, maybe like 2/3 of a year. So I don't see this coming very soon. I'm signed up for the wait list. We'll see if anything comes, and I'll share some updates if anything comes of it, but not holding my breath for sure. Next, again, keeping with the theme of Dr. Credit posting things, and I don't know why, but they recently posted on the 18th that Cardless is no longer offering a bunch of their cards. Most of their sports line, including the New Orleans Pelicans, the Liverpool, the Manchester United, Boston Celtics card, which I currently have, the Cleveland Cavaliers card, and the Miami Marlins card. This isn't new. This hasn't been a thing for a couple months now. They took all these cards off. They originally were offering pretty great cash back for it. So like the Boston Celtics card, for example, is 7% back on rideshare and streaming services, 4% back on restaurants, and then some other not really interesting ones. And you get cash back at 1 cent per point. But then there was also a sign-up bonus for, I think, $300 after spending like $1,500. So they had pretty good bonuses in the beginning. And then they gutted the sign-up bonus to just be $50. And they reduced the rewards because it was weird that you earned better rewards not making purchases with like the Boston Celtics, for example. You just got rewards for rideshare and streaming service, which doesn't have much to do with the Boston Celtics. So they transitioned that and then gave just higher rewards for Boston Celtics purchases to new card members, but old card members were grandfathered in still. And then they just stopped offering these cards as a whole. They still offer some cards like the Simon card, which isn't great, but Cardless is just not really much of a player anymore. They do allow you to be grandfathered in, as I mentioned, so I was using their card as a restaurant card for a while, but now with the Redstone Federal Credit Union card, I'll be using that, which earns 5% instead of 4%. So I figured I'd just call this out. Dr. Credit shared it, but nothing really new. This has been a thing for a little while now. Next, Wells Fargo has a couple bonuses. So they have a checking account bonus. I'm not currently eligible for it because I opened an account within the past. I think they want you to not have an account for like a year or not get a bonus for the past 12 months. And I'll be available again in March. And this looks like this expires just towards the end of February. So unless they extend it again, I won't be able to do it. But it just requires a $1,000 direct deposit into the account within 90 days of account opening to get $325. If you're in their footprint, it's pretty easy. They pay out pretty quick. I'll give a link in the show notes to my data point, but I opened the account November 25th, 2022. I did a $500 real direct deposit on December 2nd, another one on December 16th, and then they paid out February 24th, $325. If you're eligible, I would definitely go for it. It's a pretty easy bonus, and it's churnable because they only need 12 months of cooldown. Next, Wells Fargo is also doing a $225 savings bonus with a deposit of $10,000. Not as interesting, in my opinion. They've done some higher bonuses in the past. You'd be losing out on $100 in lost interest compared to 5% API, so this is really just a $125 bonus. But if that sounds lucrative to you, you could go for it. Next, again, another Saga this week. So I mentioned before that I'm a pretty frequent reader of our Frugal Mail Fashion, and someone by the user of False Telephone 3321 shared that Bombas, which is a pretty great sock brand, they were recently purchased by Walmart, but their main thing is they will give you a brand new sock if it starts to wear out. And I've already done this before, and they do actually honor it, where they'll just mail you a new sock if you show them a picture of like a hole in your sock. And I like the socks a lot. They're quite nice. And someone posted that there was a 4-pack on their website for $19, where normally one sock is around $19. And again, I don't purchase these socks unless they're on sale. Like $20 for a pair of socks is kind of crazy, but $5 for a pair of socks, especially at Bombas, that's a great value. So I went and ordered 2 of these 4-packs, and some people were being speculative, saying that it was a mistake and that they'll be canceled, but to my surprise, they actually shipped. And then later, people were getting emails and contacted support because they only received 1 sock instead of 4 socks, because the listing was meant to be for a 1-pack, but they listed it as a 4-pack for the 1-pack price. And Bomba actually just went out and sent emails to everybody saying, we mistakenly listed on our site it was a 4-pack. It's actually a 1-pack. We'll be mailing you a 1-pack for all your orders. We'll fully refund you the purchase, so you'll pay nothing and just get to keep the socks for free. And in addition to that, we'll give you a $20 credit. So some people made out like bandits. I read people ordered like 20, 30 packs, and they just got 20 to 30 socks for free and a $20 credit. I was one of the lucky ones that placed an order for 2. It should be arriving here, I think, like tomorrow, but I will be getting them for free, and I have a $20 gift card. It's not really going to be able to purchase much. Like I mentioned, retail price for their socks is like $19 for 1 pair. But hey, I think Bombas did a great job of kind of mitigating this issue. So shout out Bombas. I love their socks, and if you need some good socks, definitely take a peek. Next, it looks like it's been since removed, but someone shared on our credit cards Discover's financial services earnings report for Q4, and they didn't do too great, it looks like. The write-up's not there anymore, unfortunately. But what I thought was interesting was in their press release, they mentioned that they're going to be pulling out of the student lending market. And I'm curious if that just means like student loans or their student credit card, because they do offer their student versions of their Discover It card, which gives you, I think it's $50 statement credit every semester that you have good grades. And they don't really verify your good grades. They kind of just give you the free $50. I'd be curious to see if they leave that market, because Discover It's a really great intro card for people. It earns 5% back on rotating categories, so it gets you used to seeing what categories you have per quarter and changing it, and it gives you $50 per month per semester, for good grades. So I hope they don't remove that, but we'll see what they actually mean by exiting the student lending department. I assume they just mean student loans, but I guess time will tell. Next, Dr. Credit shared that there's an offering for a free 6-pack of cake slices. If you're interested in Mr. Kipling cakes, you can get a 100% rebate on them. It's nice to have little freebies like this. I'm probably not going to do it. I've never seen these cakes before, but if you've seen them and you want to give them a shot, you have between January 19th and February 6th to claim it for 100% back. Next, couple things here. There's not much left. Just in terms of VentureX does an anniversary credit every year where they give you 10,000 miles just for being a member every year. My annual fee just posted, and I opened up the card on, I think, like January 4th. So I have not, today's January 21st. I haven't received my anniversary 10,000 credits yet. Usually comes a little bit later. It sometimes takes like 2 or 3 statement periods. I'm not concerned with it not coming, but I just haven't received it just yet. Thought I'd mention that. Next, I had to reach out to Albert's support. I'm still, like I mentioned in the last episode, I'm still trying to do Albert Genius, even though it's kind of a pain to sign up and cancel. I'm in the middle of my free trial, so I will update on how the cancellation goes later. But I made a purchase at Etsy and made it via Curve, and then moved it over to my Albert card with my Albert Etsy boost on, which is 15% off. And it didn't track. And I've noticed this before, where if you make purchases on Albert with a boost, but through like PayPal, their system won't pick up Etsy properly because it says PayPal in the beginning. It says like PYPL star Etsy. And I had to contact support, and I swear these support members like don't even realize what account they're supporting, because I messaged them and they're explaining to me like what a transaction is. I'm like, no, I had a boost turned on and the boost did not trigger. And they're like, oh, it's pending. It's not going to trigger yet. And I'm like, I've been using Albert for over a year now. It does not matter if it's pending or not. It should post, but there's no point in arguing with these customer service representatives. So I wait until the post clears. I message them again, and this is all via text support. And they finally escalate me to some manager, apparently. And instantly the manager's like, oh, you're talking about this transaction with Etsy where you had your boost active. You didn't get the credit, right? And I was like, yes. They instantly said, oh, no problem. We've manually credited your account. Thanks. I mean, it's only $2, but it is a pain to have to reach out to them pretty frequently. I keep forgetting that it doesn't work if you do PayPal. So I'm going to try to remember that next time. But honestly, it's so nice to just be able to use PayPal, pick my credit card, and then move it over. So I probably won't. I'll just keep reaching out to support. And I've reached out to support a lot. I've had a lot of communications with them, and they don't seem to either care or notice that I keep doing free Genius subscriptions, which is $15 a month, but I just get it for free. I sign up for the free trial, cancel, and then sign up again. So we'll see how next cancellation goes, because you do have to wipe the account completely. I think I might do like a Cash App transfer of all the funds so it's instant, and then cancel the account and maybe see if I don't have to reach out to support. They also don't let you cancel if you have a pending transaction, which is annoying. So like I said, I'll keep you updated on next episode with what happens there. And then finally, just an update on Ness. Well, really, there is no update. My CFPB complaint was filed to FDIC, and then FDIC got back to me, said that they're looking into it, and they'll reach out to the bank on my behalf and get back to me. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I had some users reporting to me that the Bank of Omaha does not have copies of your previous statements with Ness. So if you have some kind of dispute where you don't agree with how much they say that how much you owe, they don't have any copies of paper statements. So Bank of Omaha really has no proof of telling you how much you owe, which is crazy. I definitely think that's something you can file a CFPB complaint for, saying that they don't have valid copies or valid proof of what you owe. And I don't imagine, like, without a statement without a statement being generated for your account, without the Bank of Omaha being able to produce that, I don't think you owe anything. Even if you have an email saying you owe it, without being given a bill and an itemized statement stating what your transactions were and what your outstanding balance is, I don't think you'd have to pay it. I'm obviously not a lawyer, not financial advice, not tax advice, but I would talk to the Bank of Omaha and tell them that without proof of what you owe, I will either be paying what the original email stated that I owed as a balance, as an outstanding balance, or just not pay them at all and see what happens. Also, something interesting, the Ness accounts aren't even reporting on credit reports. So, like on my TransUnion report, it does not show that I had an open account with Ness. Nothing ever showed there. So, I don't even know if you didn't pay it, if the Bank of Omaha would be able to send you to collections, because they don't have a statement balance that proves that you had a bill that's owed, and the account's not even showing on your credit report. So, what are they going to? How can they send you off to a creditor? Again, not a tax advisor, not tax advice, not financial advice. Definitely talk to a lawyer, but I think you have a leg to stand on. At least file a CFPB complaint and see what they say. I mean, even the Current secured cards. Current was a small app bank that I originally signed up for and actually won like a Mr. Beast giveaway for $500 for it. But they had like a secure card that I signed up for just to get the card image, and even that's showing on my credit report. And I closed it after like a week. So if Ness couldn't figure it out, but Current could, I have my doubts as to what's going to happen with this card. But that's it for this week. Not too much going on. Just wanted to give an update. Thanks as always for listening. Kai over at the Daily Churn did a great end of year synopsis of his year of churning. And once I have my spend report I'm just pending Bank of America and Capital One. And I'm shocked Capital One takes this long. Every other bank that I have that does issue a end of year summary, which by the way, most banks do, like FNBO, Chase, Citi, all the major banks do issue end of year statements, and you can see where all your spend went, what categories you went to. Bank of America and Capital One still hasn't issued it. Looking last year, they issued it on January 24th, which is in 3 days here. So hopefully they issue it then, and I'll be able to finish up my annual report, and that'll be the next episode. But if you're interested in end of year summaries, definitely take a look and see if you have some with your banks. But that's it for today. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed your weekend, and have a good one. Thanks, y'all.